Black American people need to stop identifying as African American. Yeah, I said it. We are not African.
I am not an African. I am a Black American.
So if y'all gonna call us African Americans, then make sure you call the Haitians African Haitians.
If you want to destroy people, erase their memory, divide them, convince them they are not one. Grand Rising family, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, on this topic, I want us to embrace something we call Hakuna Matata between Africans and Black Americans. We do not have problems between us, but the problems we are seeing between Black Americans and Africans, the division we are seeing between Africans and Black Americans, it is being engineered. And we need to reject that. Now, I have come across a very powerful video. I don't know how to keep it, but there's Black Americans who are saying that we are not Africans. There are Black Americans, they are saying that they are not African Americans. And there's one lady, Black American, say that she's not African American, she is Black American, and she went ahead to give the difference between African American and Black American. And I understand her. I have heard about her narrative, and okay, she has some points. But this is what they want us to think. This is what they want us to think so that we may not unite. At the end of the day, unity of Black people scares the hell out of some systems and empires. So, family, first of all, I love you and I respect your presence here. Today's video is not just about ranting or just about commentary. It's necessary truth, a wake-up call and a challenge to all of us who carry the blood of Africa, whether from Nigeria or born in New Orleans or New York City or Los Angeles or Atlanta or Kenya. This is our video. We need to listen to it first and then we come back with more commentary as I do always, and I'm waiting for your comment down there on the comment section.
Black American people need to stop identifying as African American. Yeah, I said it. We are not African. That is the problem. That is why Africans feel so comfortable coming in and infiltrating Black spaces like Essence Fest, because they think we all one and the same, one band, one sound. No, 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 no. We are natural born American citizens. We've been here for 4 or 5 centuries, 400 years plus, and we still not identifying as Americans. We're not Africans. That's why they come over here and they feel so comfortable with disrespecting us, because they think they super Africans, right? And we the little peon Africans because they got the direct source of the motherland and they know where they come from and they roots and all that stuff. Of course you do. One generation ago, you got here yesterday. You are the true African American Africans. Y'all come here from Ghana, from Senegal, from wherever, Ethiopia, whatever. Y'all come here and you get your citizenship or plant your roots, whatever. You're Africans - Americans. African Americans. Black Americans are not Africans. I don't have no Africans in my family. Period. I'm from California. My dad is from California. My grandma is from Wichita, Kansas. My great-grandma is from Wichita, Kansas. I can go back generations of Americans. That is where the confusion is coming from. And then people come from different countries and they come in our home, our house. This is our house. Yeah, the other half of our house might try to make us uncomfortable. The whites, they want to make us uncomfortable in our house. We all share in the same house. But at the end of the day, this is still our house. The visitors are coming here and treating us like we less than. We can change the narrative. It's our storyline. We keep letting other people write our storyline and then getting mad at the story. There's too many of us to not be creating our own narrative. Let's change the narrative, okay? Take back the pride in what it means to be a Black American. Start highlighting our successes as a group of people, our successes, our contributions to America as a whole. Highlight that instead of hyper fixating on slavery. Let's let that storyline kind of simmer down a little bit and focus on the inventions and the contributions that Black people make today and have made for the past 4 or 5 centuries while we've been in America, and start to elevate as a people. Stop letting people push us down with their own narratives and start writing our own story to elevate us as a people in our home. This is our house, not theirs. This is our home. We are natural born American citizens, and don't let nobody tell you different.
So if y'all gonna call us African Americans, then make sure you call the Haitians African Haitians. Make sure you call the Jamaicans African Jamaicans. Because why are we the only members of the diaspora associated with Africa? Let's talk about it. Prior to Jesse Jackson in the 1980s, Black Americans had no association with Africa. In fact, no Black American wanted to be called African American. There was a huge pushback against that because there was no association with Africa prior to that. And that's only 40 years ago. It's not a long time ago. Prior to that, we were Negroes and we were black. Africans don't care about Caribbeans not being called African because Caribbeans aren't popping like us. We are Africans and Caribbeans' only claim to fame. We were never African. Get over it.
I am not an African. I am a Black American. What that means is that my entire family has come from America. I am the descendant of people that were slaves. That's what that means when I tell you that I am a Black American. That means that the people that have been in my family for generations built this country. That means that my grandfather, who served in World War II, that helped fight and defend this country, and was, by the way, denied GI Bill benefits because he was black, is a part of the history of this country. I am not Haitian. I'm not Nigerian. I am not from any of these other countries. I am a full-blooded 100% Black American. And what that means is that I will speak on Black American culture in any way that I please, but what I will also do is I will not allow for it to continue to be co-opted by Africans who come here with so many more resources than your average Black American does, try to wrap themselves up in our struggle, our oppression, our history, and try to co-opt every space that we have built for ourselves, like they've done in the destruction of the Essence Music Festival. So don't try to discount what I say and try to pretend that I'm Haitian or I'm not American or whatever. No, I'm 100% Black American.
Welcome back. Now, the first lady that I played your video, she said this, and I quote, "Black Americans people need to stop identifying as African Americans. We ain't Africans. That is the problem. And that is why Africans feel so much comfortable coming in and infiltrating black spaces like Essence Fest because they think we are all one and the same. We are natural-born American citizens. Black Americans are not Africans. And I don't know African in my family, and I don't have any African in my family." And she went on and on defending her narrative. Now, this statement, whether she said out of pain, out of pride, or propaganda, needs to be unpacked. And needs to be unpacked with love, truth, and with historical accuracy. And that's what I'm just going to do. I am a Pan-African. And when I see such videos, my heart skips a little bit. But as far as I understand the message inside, as far as I'm trying to understand the one who is saying these things, again, at the end of the day, we need the unity of black people. Now, being honest, the division between African and African Americans or Black Americans didn't begin with us. Black Americans and continental Africans have not always seen eye to eye since back then. And that friction didn't come out of nowhere. It was engineered, it was ignited, it was planned. When enslaved Africans were brought to America, they were stripped of their names, they were stripped of their languages. Hear this. They were stripped of their tribal affiliation, their spiritual systems. Everything African was demonized and erased from Black Americans. Black Americans were forced to start over. They were forced to build a culture from scrap, to find dignity in the land that gave them nothing. Over 400 years, and this lady has said it. That is enough to say that we are not Africans. And that's why I said, I understand what she's trying to say. Understanding her and other Black Americans who are saying they are not Africans is one thing I know to do the most. But again, at the end of the day, I will tell you, we are all African. But as Black Americans, you were stripped of. We have talked about this a number of times, but we need to speak about it. Sometimes I will make videos calling for unity, video after video, and one will say that I'm repeating content. No, this is my work. My work here is not to gain views or traction or anything with the viral and everything, but my work is to unite black people. Even if I will talk 1,000 times, even if I'm going to make 1,000,000 videos calling for black unity, that's what I'm born to do. And that's what I'm trying to do. You might think I'm repeating unity, oh, let's unite. But I'm calling for unity in different angles that we all must understand. And we all, whether you are 20, 18, 20, you are 30s, you are 40s, 50s, 60s, and 75, we must understand that black people all over the world are the same people. Because one, we are the mother of the humankind. So if we are the mother of humankind, we cannot divide ourselves. Because if black Americans say they ain't African, and Africans say black Americans are not African, so who is the mother of humankind? We will start having conflict between us. And that is what they want us to do. They want us to divide ourselves and to have the conflicts between us. The narrative that the people saying we are not Africans are saying is true. Yes, you are not African, as you say. But at the end of the day, when you trace your ancestral, where is it taking you back? To Africa. And when all this is happening, the same time, Africa was under brutal hand of colonization, and when black Americans was under slavery for 400 years, Africa was going through colonizations. Nations were caved up, languages were destroyed, and tribal identities were manipulated. The continent was robbed. The continent was raped and psychologically fractured. Both sides of the Atlantic suffered from the same oppressor, but just in different forms. We all went through the same problem. We all went through the same hands of the same oppressor. It's just like having a teacher punishing students, but these students are being punished on the hand, the big cane on the hand, and the other ones on buttocks. But the results of these two groups of people who are family by blood but raised in completely different worlds, the results is this one. When you don't heal that wound or build that bridge, the results is misunderstandings. You get me? The idea that black Americans are not Africans is not just opinion. It is a weapon. It's a weapon. It is a tool to divide black people. It's a tool of division designed to stop one of the greatest threats of white supremacy, and which is global black unity. I want to be clear. The system doesn't hear black people in isolation. The system doesn't fear black people in isolation. The system fears when black people unite. The system fears when African Americans and continental Africans see themselves as one people with one struggle, with one future. The system loses controls if this happens. And that's what they fear the most. And that's why when an African American will say, we are not African, even the views he got or she got skyrocketed, because the message is being sent to millions and millions of black people so that it can go into your mind and start to scatter the bridge you are bridging, you are building between you and African, between African and African Americans. The media is a tool of division. So the media plays this over and over. The narrative is being pushed so hard. You could hear narrative being pushed like Africans sold you into slavery. The black Americans are lazy. The Africans are arrogant. They were too different to connect. We are not too different to connect. We are not too different to connect. Of course we can connect. And we are connecting because it is too late. Even if this narrative is being sold, it is too late because we are connecting. I see black Americans coming to Africa. I did a video where African leaders are starting calling up black Americans. What do you think that's happening? It is connecting. And we are connecting as black people. All of this narrative that we are seeing is just nonsense. All of it is designed to keep us fighting each other instead of the real enemy. We need to tackle the real enemy, but we keep on fighting ourselves because of this nonsense. And the more we repeat it, is the more we play in their hands. The more we continue saying that Africans are not African Americans' brothers, the more we continue saying that Black Americans are not from Africa, the more we continue playing in their own game, in their own half. And if we continue like that, they will get penalized. We must remember that division between us is international. A symptom of trauma and colonization. We must remember that division between us is intentionally. A symptom of trauma and colonization. Trauma on Black Americans, colonization on Africans is not an organic or natural separation. This is not about one group being better. It's about how both were manipulated to look at each other through the lens of stereotypes. When we look at facts, you can say I'm not African all day, but what does your DNA say? Yes, you can say ain't African all day, but what does your DNA say? I have a friend called Angelica. She's African American full, and she have grown up knowing that she's African American, but her DNA is saying she's Bantu from Kenya. A lineage her line is from Kenya, and she's Bantu. She just knew that in 2020, but she's born and raised in America. His family line all is in America. Scientific studies have shown that the most Black Americans have deep roots in West Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Cameroon, and that is not an option. That's not option. That's data. And that's the only reason many don't know their specific route is because they were stolen, arrested during slavery. That's the only reason why some don't know their roots. And I agree. That's why I understand each and every Black American who is saying that they are not African. But does that mean that Black Americans should be forced to identify as African? No. We cannot force Black American to be identified as African. You can honor your African or you can honor your American journey and still recognize your African origin. You don't have to choose. You can do both. Black Americans have built something incredible in the USA. We cannot deny that. They created jazz, they created hip-hop, the civil rights movement, HBCUs, Black Wall Street. They redefined what it means to be black and brilliant. You get that? The pride is justified. The culture is powerful, but it doesn't mean that you must deny your roots. Black Americans have built a lot in America. They have redefined what it means to be black and brilliant. And that pride is justified. That culture is powerful. They build from scratch. But it doesn't mean that you must deny your roots to stand tall in your current identity. And the message just to Africans who think they are superior because they are more direct to the continent, that they are more African than others, you must stop that. You must stop that. That attitude creates more harm than healing. That attitude of you thinking you are more African, it creates more harm than healing. Black Americans have survived one of the most brutal systems in history and still became global leaders. We have to respect that. On the other hand, too, Black Americans must avoid, you must avoid projecting your pain onto Africans. Many Africans are still recovering from colonial trauma too. And many are under economic neocolonialism and political puppetry. We are not as different as we have been told. We need to stand tall. If we are the nature of human, if we are the mother of all humankind, then we are capable enough to know that we are not as they are saying we are. Black Americans have battled systematic racism, inculcation, voter suppression, segregation, and redlining. On the other hand, Africans have dealt with colonialism, dictatorship, and this dictatorship was installed by the West. Economic exploitation by these groups like IMF and World Bank, and constant neo-colonial manipulation. These are not different fights. Yes, they are different fronts of the same war, but the same fight. When black Americans fight police brutality, maybe in Chicago, Kenyans are struggling with the police brutality in Kenya, in Nairobi, in the land. It's still the same. And this police brutality that we are having maybe in Africa, like the one we are seeing in Kenya, is not about Kenyan leaders. It's about the system. The system is engineering that. The system is pushing for that. In Congo, minerals fuel the West technology, but Congolese people live in poverty. It's the same system that built American wealth off the backs of enslaved black people. Our pain is connected. Our resistance must be connected too. Our pain is the same, and our resistance must be the same too. We must not be going through the same pain, but we want to deal it differently. If we unite, we can conquer it easily. Culture is one of the strongest forces on earth, and no one does culture like us black people. From Afrobeat to hip-hop, from Wakanda to the real African kingdom, black culture has become global. And we influence a lot. We influence fashion, we influence speech, we influence attitude, music, tech, dance, everything. But we must use that influence to unify. We must use that influence to unify, not to separate. Not to separate that, oh, we have good music, or you have trash music. No. We must use the intelligence that we have to unite. Imagine African rappers collaborating with the Detroit lyricist. Just imagine black American actors starring in Nigerian production. Ogao. Wow. Just imagine that. Imagine Kenyan tech leaders investing in black-only Silicon Valleys. Imagine Ghanaian chefs blending with the Louisiana soul food. The possibilities are endless when we stop thinking in us versus them. We must start creating the we. It is not us versus them. It is not me, African, versus you, black American. It is we. Let's start creating the we between us. Every time we are allowing ourselves to be divided, we lose. Every time you allow yourself to be divided, you lose. Divided black people can't mobilize politically, so we can't have power. A divided black people, we waste energy fighting each other instead of dismantling the systems oppressing us. Our vision gets blurred when we focus on internal rivalry. And that's the purpose. We are losing the purpose. A united black market will dominate industries from fashion to finance, and will gain profit. And they know this. They know this, and that's why they fund our division. They know this. They're funding our division. Whether in media, cool curriculum, or social media, algorithm that promote division, they will fund that. They will fund that. And it's a strategy. Keep them fighting so that they never rise. It is a strategy. I wonder why Africans are not seeing this. I wonder why black Americans, some are not seeing this. It's a strategy to keep us fighting. It's a strategy to keep neocolonialism in Africa. It's a strategy to keep black Americans still in dark. We must have solutions. We must have solutions. Education is the first step, as I always say. Let's learn African history beyond colonization. Let's learn African history even before colonization. Study the true story of the transatlantic slave trade. We must know what transpired. We must know what happened. We must teach our kids about African kingdoms, African inventions, and African revolutions. They have to know. The kids of black Americans, they have to know. The kids of Africans, they have to know. Watch documentary like, called what? High on the Horn, Africa, the story you never know, or Exterminate All the Broods. Read the books, watch the documentaries. Another thing we must do, we must stop mocking African accents. We must stop mocking African accents. We must stop shaming black Americans for not knowing their tribe. We must talk to each other, not at each other. We have to support African-owned businesses and creators. Black Americans should travel to Africa if they can, and Africans in the diaspora should honor Malcolm X and learn about the Black Panthers. Okay? Let's invest in each other. Economies. Africans invest in economy of black Americans. Black Americans invest in Africa. African Americans should support African vintage farmers and tourism. Africans should support black-owned US brands, music, and media. We need Pan-Africanism. We need Pan-African movement that include all black people. African American can advocate for fair immigration for Africans. Africans can use their platform to speak out against anti-black American discrimination. And that's what we are trying to do. But when we try to do this, some narrative is coming that you are not from America. Why are you speaking on us? Why are you speaking? Pan-Africanism carries a lot. Because I, as a Pan-African, must study Black American. I must study African. I must study Afro-Latino. I must study Black Brazilian and blacks in UK. So if I talk about black person in Brazil, it's my work as a Pan-African. So we need to have alliance, strong alliance. Then we must have spiritual reconnection. We must reconnect spiritually. Embrace African traditional, if you feel called. Reclaim African-centered faith, ancestral honor, and communal power. Create online platform that allow black people across the world to communicate, because communication is the key. Okay? We must have podcasts, virtual summits, and storytelling hubs that can help bridge the gaps. Okay? I know if you are understanding each other. Can you just imagine the world if Black Americans and Africans stood as one? We'll have a global black economy worth trillions and trillions of money. We'll have a cultural force that shape politics, art, tech, media. Oh no. Imagine Black Americans and Africans standing together. A global black passport, one that welcomes you in every black nation with open arms. Land, property, and power shared between our peoples. Schools in Ghana teaching about Rosa Parks. Schools in Georgia teaching about Patrice Lumumba. It will be great. And this is not fantasy. It is the future waiting to build. And for all who don't know, it is happening right now. It is happening. And that's why I said, this is what they want. But it is too late, because the unity have started. And those few Africans or few Black Americans who are trying to destroy our unity, they will not succeed. We are going to win this battle. As a part of Pan-African unity, I will win this battle when I'm still alive. I'm going to see a lot of things. I'm going to see the unity between black people. And that is not a fantasy. So to my brothers and sisters who say, I'm not African, I hear your pain and I honor your identity. But you must look deeper. Ask why you are taught that. Ask who benefit from your disconnection. Ask yourself what the future could look like if you say you are African, if we stood together. So this is not about forcing labels, okay? It's about healing. It's about reclaiming what was stolen and building the future our ancestors died dreaming about, okay? Let's stop fighting each other. Until next episode, I'll say peace be with you. But I will say this as I close. They separated us to conquer us. Now we must reunite to free us. Grand rising always.